imaginary friend trying to put the family and her father and her stepfather and everybody together, like bring everybody together. That's basically the whole premise of Contrast. The storyline was very unique. It was overall amazing to me because it's a storyline that hasn't been hit. So you don't see many storylines like that these days. So I actually had to really sit back and go, you know what, that was really clever the way they did it. So overall, the storyline, I'm going to give a 10 out of 10. The gameplay was good. It was a little outdated. Basically, you have to turn into shadows and walk on the shadows to make, finish different tasks. So, overall, the gameplay was good. It was responsive. No real glitches that I saw that were like crazy. Gameplay was really, really good. So I gave gameplay a 7 out of 10. Graphics were really outdated. Now this is where the game kind of took a hit. I don't know if they purposely made it with outdated graphics or whether they had an engine that was outdated. But it is an indie game, so I understand that. But the graphics were outdated. They're more PlayStation 3 or even sooner. At the end of the day, the graphics were just outdated, so I gave that a 6 out of 10. The fun factor, it was a fun game, okay? If you like puzzles like I like puzzles, it's fun, okay? You're gonna enjoy yourself. If you start the puzzles in this game, you're gonna want to finish the puzzle. So I give it a 7 out of 10 for fun factor. Peeves about this game, I expected it to be more. So the length of the game, I gave 2 out of 10 because it just wasn't long enough. If you rush through it, you're gonna finish it in 3 hours or less. If you're going to get all the collectibles and everything like I was doing, it might take you 3 to 4 hours, but any longer than that, you're just taking way too much time. So I wouldn't worry about the length too much because it is an indie game and it is free. My overall score on the game, like if I had to do it as a whole, is a 6.4. It's a game that is fun to play and it'll keep you occupied, and it's well worth the free admission that you get it for, you know, I mean, if you have PlayStation Plus. But yeah, it's worth your time. I mean, if you like puzzles and you like a unique storyline that's not what you're used to seeing, then this is going to be the game for you. Puzzles, unique storylines, stuff like that. If you're more into action and stuff like that, you're not going to enjoy this game, okay? And this is, you know, in my opinion, this is for people who just enjoy, you know, killing time. Would I play it again? Sure. Yeah, I would play it again. It's a good game, and it's well worth your time, your 3 to 4 hours.
Take on the game is that you are this little girl who has an imaginary friend who's looking out for you, and you have a series. Basically, she's trying throughout the entire game to get her dad to move back home, and at the same time taking care of all of his issues because he had a lot of issues. It was a weird storyline. It had a good premise, but it wasn't really super in depth. You didn't really build kind of a relationship with the characters. It was kind of like, okay, here it is. My thoughts on the gameplay were, it was unique. It was a little stiff in certain places. You had to be really quick with going in and out of the shadow form, and if you weren't, it didn't exactly do everything that you wanted it to do, or it didn't move as quick as you wanted it to move. Personally, I kind of liked the old school graphics. I thought they were kind of a neat way to come across with the game. I loved the shadows and the shadow story, like the way you were looking at the story was from the perspective of her friend rather than of her, so you couldn't actually see the people. Everything to you was shadows, and that was pretty cool. I liked the spotlight effect. Everything from that end, you could see all of the character expressions were made plain to see in the shadows, and it was actually a lot of fun to watch. I enjoyed it. Well, as far as the uniqueness on the game, I really enjoyed how unique the game was. As a matter of fact, I absolutely loved how unique the game was. I would love to see more 50s style games or medieval style third-person games. I love the third-person setup. I'm not really a huge first-person fan unless it's in a shooter, because in reality there's no real point to first-person. I mean, I don't want to feel like I'm the one walking up with the sword. I like to see it from that perspective of outside rather than being the person. The game was super unique, and the two things that I absolutely love most out of games is uniqueness and storyline. This one didn't have a super strong storyline, but the storyline was there. As far as fun factor on this game, I would play this game again, maybe just to get the other collectibles and things in it. It's maybe something that I would show a starting gamer. I don't want to say girl, because there are some extremely fantastic female players out there, but maybe just a starting player in general. 10 years ago I would have said girl. Overall, the game itself, like I said, is gonna be probably a 6 out of 10.
Come on.